Okay, we're just going to use one hand to start in on inversions. Okay, so here is your normal C chord, 1, 3, 5, right there. Okay, now the notes that are included in a C chord are a C, an E, and a G. But a C is usually on the bottom of that triad, right? Well, what happens if you're to play those same notes, a C, an E, and a G, but you don't have a C on the very bottom? What if you flip the C to the top? Okay, so that would mean E, G, and then C, all right? Well, that is called an inversion, okay? It's also called the first inversion, okay? It's called the first inversion because you're taking the first note of the chord and you're moving it to the top. So there's a couple different ways you can play it. You can move your hand position like this, where you're playing an E and then you're spreading out. You're changing the fingers that you're playing the chords with. Or what you can do is you can put your fingers in your normal triad shape and then just not play with your pinky over here. Either keep the thumb in or just don't play with your thumb at all and just play the E. Okay? That is also an inversion because it's not as much about taking the C and putting it up at the top as it is about what note is in the bass. Okay? That's the most important thing. What note is playing the bass? And that's why right here you can see that it says C/E. The way you read that is C over E. So technically speaking, what it's saying to do is to play a C chord over the note E. Okay? Okay? And it sounds really cool. And the angels cry, holy, all creation cries. Doesn't that sound cool? It's a lot better than, and the angels cry, holy, all creation cries, holy. Right? Sounds cooler. It almost, to me, it has a little bit of a sadness to it. And so a lot of times as I'm memorizing music, a lot of times I'll accidentally play a minor chord instead of a 1 over 3. All right. And what I mean by 1 is C is the key of the song, right? So the home base of the song is C, and that's the 1 chord, 1 over 3, the third of the scale, in C, right? So 1 over 3 is that. Okay, and a lot of times I'll leave the 5th in the bass as well. Okay, all right, so that's first inversion. Well, what about second inversion? Well, that is the 1, 3, 5. That's a G in the bass with a C on top. Okay. Okay, so C over G, you'll see that a little bit throughout the course of the time that you're playing in worship music, but that's just the second inversion, okay? So first inversion is E in the bass, second inversion, G in the bass, and then your normal C chord, and that is how you play inversions. Now, inversions don't have to happen just with the 1 chord, they can happen elsewhere as well. But if you see that slash mark, usually what we tell people is, oh, well, that's just something that the bass player is supposed to take care of. And while that is true, you can help the bass player out by putting in the proper inversions in the way that you play. Now, this gets really powerful later on when we talk about hand positioning as we're playing and using inversions to keep you from jumping all over the keyboard. We'll get to that in just a second, but right now we're going to get through the rest of the chorus.